Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another edition of 3 Live Canes. As always, I am Chris. There's the box that delineates that. That box over there, that says Bill. I'm here to talk to you guys about another week of Miami Hurricanes football. Steve-O will be around. If you're looking for him, obviously you can see all his stuff on Twitter too. So we know Steve-O, you know the deal. If you're new to the show or you're looking for D-Money and Pete and all those guys, this is not that. We are 3 Live Canes here on CanesInSight, giving us an opportunity to provide some information and some insight and maybe a little bit of humor into your work week here to talk about Miami Hurricanes football. And we're going to be joined here right now by Steve-O. I don't want to just throw him in here because sometimes I just toss him in and he's not ready to go and he's like putting his shirt on and stuff. But Steve-O's ready.
What's good, y'all? What's good? My bad. I just got in from the field, so I just had to change my, wash real quick, put a shirt on, and I'm ready to go.
Steve-O, always battling, always going to war for us. We appreciate you, Steve-O. A green screen looking nice in the back. That's actually not a screen. That's just the way he painted his wall. It's just straight up green.
It's very three-dimensional.
Well, we're just doing our little introductions here, Steve-O. Well, I was going to talk to Bill, but Steve-O, you just jumped in. So, Bill, Steve-O, how are you doing tonight?
I'm big vibing. I can't complain, to be honest with you. It's been a nice, holiday season. I'm be on my way to New York, and it's not going to be my type of weather when I get there. But I'll be okay.
When are you coming over here, Steve-O?
I leave in literally less than a couple hours. I leave at 4 in the morning. It's a quick one, yeah. So I'll be up there. It'll be 27 degrees or whatever it is. But I was just in D.C. for the Army-Navy game, so
27 will be hot, Steve. It's going to be 19 and windy at 4 a.m.
Steve-O,
it's 55 down here. It's a little chilly for the people down here.
Steve, I'm telling you, it might say 27 degrees. It feels colder, man. The wind has been ridiculous the past couple of days. So
yeah, I'm ready. Thermal, hoodie, North Face jacket on top. I'll be ready. Long John's under. I'm going straight to my hotel apartment, and I ain't leaving.
I was going to say the most important thing is you don't really understand the long johns or whatever. Multiple layers of pants. That's really the key to it because everybody layers up the jacket, layers up the top half, but you keep that lower half solid too. That's when you stay warm. Boots. Wear boots everywhere.
Two pairs of socks.
2 pairs of socks.
Nah, I got thermal socks, and the little hand warmers, shake them up, shake them. You feel me? Yeah, I'm on deck. I got put on. I was in DC. My little brother freezing. I'm like, bro, you about to be playing this? He's like, but I'll be playing. This lady came from heaven talking about you guys look really cold. I'm like, yeah, we from Florida. She was like, here, you can take these. She just started pulling out these hand warmers out of her I don't even know, like a Harry Potter bag. It's just endless amount. I mean, I'm passing them to people in my row. We just met them. I'm like, yeah, shake them up. I had 2 in my hip pocket. I had 2 in my socks. I was ready to go. But yeah, I'm straight to the car, straight to my girl apartment, and until we gotta go see her parents, I'm snow day.
Are the parents in the city too?
Yeah, they live in Queens, so we won't have to go too far to see them.
That's not so bad. And you warm the car up before you get into it. The whole deal. You're good. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm 4-4 to the car. Straight out LaGuardia, baby. What was that? That was me running to that car, baby.
Very good. Also, a sneaky little thing: hand warmers in the shoes too.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I had some in my feet. I had some in my socks. Yeah. I was on point.
Excellent work, Steve. Excellent. But Bill, how are we doing tonight?
I'm big chilling too. A lot going on in the portal. Some other issues going on around college football, which I actually have very strong opinions on, which I rarely do. That whole Xavier Lucas situation got me fired up trying to pick fights on the internet, but those dairy farmers aren't taking my bait.
Well, we'll see if we can instigate some stuff here now, but
it's as bad as everybody says it is. Trust me, it really is.
All right, we'll throw a bunch of stuff out there and maybe annoy some people and see if we can't get some people to get mad in the chat. Steve, we missed it last week. We had some people mad in the chat. It was great. We were causing some havoc in here. It was a good time.
I forgot what happened, and I remember seeing it like, oh my god, bro! I was so caught up. I had hit a ticket or 2 on the first game, the Texas and Arizona State. I was out celebrating, and I look at the message. I'm like, oh my god, bro! It's Wednesday. I forgot. It felt like a Saturday. I was watching football all day.
It was a weird week. It was a weird week for sure. So don't
My
worry.
bad,
Steve.
y'all.
Now that you're back, you can deflect some of those people that were happy to get mad at me and Bill. I don't think they get mad at you, Steve-O. But thank you guys all for joining us here on a Wednesday night. You know the deal. 3 Live Canes came and talk some Miami football.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Irvin's got it. Irvin's free.
Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, but he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big game.
Hurt, dog. Don't ask me for more. Hell no. Devin Hester up to the races. That's what they needed.
That's Ricks going up for Thorpe, and it's intercepted near midfield. Sean Taylor's got another one.
Who else?
But Sean, who else but us here on a Wednesday night? 3 big additions in the portal this week, all coming within the past 4 or 5 days, including the 2 guys that now slot in, according to 24/7, as our 2 biggest additions in the portal, but also another defensive back to add to that grouping. And we'll start with that. We'll go through those guys and switch over to the Lucas conversation and a couple other interesting tidbits from around the country that we saw, including a new landing spot for our old quarterback. But let's start with that defensive backfield, because we have made it a clear purpose to go out and get some talent there to add to those rooms at the safety and the cornerback positions to make sure that what we were seeing later in the year was not going to be the same stuff that we saw or that we see next year. Miami had already picked up a number of commitments back there: Zechariah Poyser, Charles Brantley, Carnley. Like, we'd already gotten some talent. Now we added Ethan O'Connor. Guy who's going to come in and bring his talents over from Washington State, which is becoming the minor league for the entire nation as the year seems to go on. But Steve, I'll go to you first. Not only just about Ethan O'Connor coming in, I know he's like a big playmaker, taller corner and all that, but just so far, what are we looking at with this defensive backfield? Already like 4 deep in the portal.
I mean, yeah, that just tells you how the emphasis do we have a defensive coordinator? Like, is he gonna bring? I just seen Chavis Jackson on the road. Does that mean he's staying? Does that mean we're gonna hire a DC and he's not gonna bring in his own guys? I have no idea what's going on. But to see guys still commit and see the vision and Canes connection, that's cool. That's cool. It's I like the kid from Arizona. I like him more at safety. Started 8 games, 6'3", longer corner. But, he could play versatile chess piece. We'll get Jadaeus Richard back this year coming up. That'll be big for us. I know a lot of fans like to talk, but when he went down, look what happened to the cornerback room. But I really like him for the upside. He started 8 games as a true freshman. You got, obviously, O'Connell, who started, the whole season as a redshirt freshman, 4 interceptions, 12 pass breakups, a couple tackles. Big tackles on 3rd downs and stuff. So that's nice to see. But I really love the safety out of Jacksonville State. I get it. People don't really like the jump up in competition. People like this guy's coming from Arizona. That's power 4 ball. This guy's, coming from Washington State. That was power 4 ball just a year ago. So, I mean, I understand, but that's the one I'm really hyped for because he's a really, really good open field tackler. And anybody who could tackle somebody in the open field has my eyes up. Like, I'm looking for you. You can tackle in the open field. I'm looking for you because that's just really where we struggle at. Sometimes you can call, the perfect call, or you can call a call that just, you got to just live to fight another down. If you give up a slant or a 10-yard route, you have to just come up and make that tackle. And then, hey, look to the sideline, get the next play. But nah, it was a 10-yard, hitch or, a 5-yard hitch, 10-yard curl that go for freaking 80 and they're still running. That's the problem. So if you can come and tackle, that's all I care about. Pass coverage, I think, will be fine. It's a little overrated that our corners were so bad. Really, they picked on our linebackers all year. We never adjusted. They just kept ISO and Kiko in coverage. So, really, outside the Syracuse game, Freddie really wasn't even coming at our corners, bro. Let's just be real. Corners, we know OJ's a building block. DP's moving on to NFL. I think he'll be a good one. But, yeah, the corners weren't really like, oh, my God, getting abused because everybody was just literally going at either Jaden Harris, Mish, or Kiko Alonso. I mean, Kiko, I don't know. So I said Alonso. But, yeah, that's – so the cornerback room, hey, here's what it is. But obviously we're adding talent to that room, an injection of right now talent. I think that's a wake-up call for someone like Damari. Hey, bro, like we will recruit over you, my boy. I don't know. I like Demari at corner, but I really don't like him at safety. Some of his best attributes is how he could manhandle at the line of scrimmage. Was never healthy all year. People want to throw out what happened to him at Syracuse for one play. I mean, bro, he hadn't played all year. He played like 10 snaps versus Florida, bro. So, I mean, whatever. I don't take that as a sample size. As long as he's healthy and he can compete for the job, that's good depth at the very least. But yeah, we went hellbound in the portal without knowing if we're going to have another DB coach and not knowing who the hell the DC is. So that just tells you Canes Connection is live and well. Y'all boys keep donating.
It's working. It's definitely working. And like on Kevin Porter's comment, like there's still that piece of the puzzle with like Damari Brown maybe not move to safety, but it's obviously going to cause some people to look behind them for a little bit in that room, whether it's corner room or safety room with all these guys coming in, and who knows what could happen with that. Maybe some other guys moving out at a later date after spring once they kind of see the writing on the wall when they got at least a little bit of pads on there and see how that goes. But Bill, thoughts on bringing in O'Connor in that DB group?
Yeah, I think it was the back seven as a whole is probably needed to be flipped. That was the clear emphasis that we've seen other positions at the last few years under Mario. But what I like that they're doing, especially with O'Connor, Carnley, and then maybe one more coming soon. They're getting guys with multiple years of eligibility, right? It's not kind of one and done. This is the fix, right? Both in the short term and the long term, which is actually somewhat difficult to do, but the portal allows you to do that, right? You don't have to rely on just trying to grab true freshmen, throwing them in there and hoping that it's better results. But like Steve said, OJ's building block. You build around him. You bring in guys that have I think you've upgraded the athleticism in the back end. That was, kind of one of my biggest complaints is, there's schematic issues. I think there was, talent issues, but we were just slow, right, across the board on defense. And, we're getting faster. We're getting better. The only kind of thing that's left is who's going to coach them up. But it's a very impressive job to, kind of bring in this, DB portal class without a DC. That's a props to Mario on that one and Canes Connection, of course.
Yeah, or just knowing if the DB coach recruiting you now is a dead man walking, like you have no idea. I mean, people love Chevis in the building. I really don't think the corners, outside of the guy who already hit the portal, Deani Hill, who, was one of his guys that Marshall brought over, really wasn't that bad all year. I mean, bro, let's be real. There was schematic issues that, led to Daryl Porter running 40-yard dashes across the field every play. And it's just like, oh my God, man. And then we switched it up and, and then it was just them going on our linebackers all day, just dink and dunk. People weren't completing 60-yard, 50-yard passes on us, bro. They were dinking it to the flat and no one was there. And you're just wondering how. That's really was our story of our year. So kudos to Canes Connection and Mario, Coach Mario, for attacking the defensive backfield the way he has. I think there's another position I think he's going to attack in the portal like this. It just remains to be seen. I think there's going to be a big fish that they're going full force at probably two more positions. One's being a defensive back. I'm pretty sure Bill was hinting at that. But yeah, one's probably a receiver that we're going all in on. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, there's definitely more and more people in the portal with this whole. I think this year more than even last year. This whole guys that declared for the draft and also entered the portal, kind of sitting in that weird in between spot to see what the best opportunities are. I mean, there's money on the table.
Why go be a day 3 pick when day 3 picks are getting almost $1 million to play college football and be the guy? I mean, why go be a day 3 pick? I mean, that was Cam Ward. They put him up 4th, 5th round. That's a day 3 guy. Now he about to be the number 1 pick in the draft. They got betting odds that you can put $100 in, you'll make like $102 if he's like that's how high the odds are. Like
Steve was putting that money in.
Like it's pretty apparent that NIL is keeping people from going to NFL before they're ready, which is a good thing. Obviously there's a lot of downsides to it. You got 27-year-olds in college football, the average age is like 22 now. It's crazy. I mean, come on, bro. These kids are everybody signs freshmen, bro. So that means like everybody in the country has like 25, 18-year-olds. How the hell is it 22 for the average? But whatever.
That's the way it's looking. Ian Coleman had the question before. Steve, I'll go to you two on this, Bill. Of all the new defensive backs, who do you think is the most impactful? I think we can kind of guess based upon what you're saying about the safety. But Steve, are you going to stick with boys there?
I want to say the safety, but I'll go O'Connor just because I don't care who we bring in. I think we're going to play more man coverage. Keep playing man coverage because if we're going to recruit big time DBs and you want to win, look at the playoffs. Stacking the line, holding up on that outside. That's how you got to win football games. I mean, so that's what it is. I'm gonna take O'Connor, take the football away. I think he's an instant starter. He'll be opposite of OJ. Do people test OJ and go to O'Connor? I don't know. Now you got to pick your poison. It was really going away from OJ all year. To be honest with you, it was really into that Syracuse game where they really started taking advantage of him in coverage, which happens, bro. He's a freshman going against some pretty good receivers and honestly a really good quarterback from Syracuse with McCord. So now I remember giving Flo so much stuff because he wanted McCord or he said something about McCord and whatever. But he ended up balling. Good for him. But we're gonna be good. I think you put O'Connor in there as a guy you could trust to go man to man. You already know OJ, his best skill set is man to man. So now you can build on that. Because the best thing about having man to man corners is we can call that all day and just, we'll live and die with the results. But even better about the best way to utilize man corners effectively is even if they do give up that, I need a safety who can come up and just dead that play immediately. Like the erasers, the Jaquan Johnsons, the Sheldrick Redwines, where it didn't matter if Mike Jack ever gave up a catch or Trajan Bandy ever gave up a catch because we're going to live to fight another down. So a lot of that man coverage that we were calling last year, the safeties just didn't, play their part. The Xavier Lucas stuff is crazy. I'll let Chris to that when he wants to get to that.
But I mean, now's a hell of a good time, I think, for that. Not only because of you Canes fan use comment there, but just talking about the defensive backfield. That's obviously one of the big fish that's out there, and I think a lot of people are having the conversations about how it's Miami. Miami was the one that got him to go, and whatever the situation is, because everything we get is hearsay, right? But it appears to be that he may or may not have made an agreement at some point, like at the end of the season, somewhere in December, then decided after that to go into the portal. And then that's when Wisconsin has some issues with it. And then they're refusing to file the paperwork, which they are obligated to file, regardless of what's going on with the NIL group. If there's an NIL stuff on the outside, technically speaking, Wisconsin should have nothing to do with that. They just got to file the paperwork, but they are choosing not to do that, which is opening up a Pandora's box of what could happen in the future.
The first ever lawsuit of suing a school about not releasing you to the portal. Crazy. This happens all the time. Guys flip and go there. Guess what? Collectives handle that. It has nothing to do with the school. Hey, this kid signed for this amount of money. We gave him this up front. That means your collective owes us this. And then boom, sayonara. That's what happened when Florida was paying us for what we paid Jaden Rashada. They had to pay us. They had to cash us out. They had to give Ruiz his money back. That's how that goes. So I have no idea in regards to why. I mean, I guess I know why he's a freshman All-American. I know why, but I don't know why they would risk everything about this. I mean, you could say, hey, you're never going to recruit, but who recruits to expect, oh, yeah, we're going to let guys go in the portal. So that's not like a thing like that. It's just you're burning bridges in South Florida for sure. Like, that thing is on fire. Like, fire. Like, it is on fire. I can't imagine Wisconsin coming down here and recruiting at American Heritage again. I just can't. And it's just like, just give him enough money where he can't say no. Like, why are you holding him? Like, just up the bread like everybody do. Like, you holding them? Like, what? It don't make sense. It's the first of its kind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bill. I know, Bill, you've been active on the internet about this, so go ahead.
I'm actually surprised it kind of took this long, and it just kind of started to go national today. On3 put something out. Mike Farrell for his website. Lucas's new attorney, was tweeting up a storm as well. But there's nothing that can allow Wisconsin to hold them, right? The collective is separate, right? Even if they believe he was tampered with, and I don't believe that Miami would be dumb enough to directly tamper, right? We know the back channels happen, right? Through coaches, whatever. Even if that was the case, that's still not a reason to deny him access to the portal that he can go wherever he wants. Wisconsin seems pretty dug in at this point. They're not talking, which is kind of even crazier. Their fans are saying, well, we know what's going on. They don't know what's going on either. It's, there's no end game, right? Lucas is never going to play a snap for Wisconsin. If it's money related, that gets handled through the collective and civil court if it makes it that far. But Luke Fickell's on the hot seat. I don't know why this is kind of the battle he's choosing, right? He's already lost them, right? And now Wisconsin looks bad to everybody outside of Madison. Is this going to be kind of the first ever lawsuit? Is this going to set some precedents potentially? But again, I just don't see the end game. But the NCAA in their typical fashion is not doing anything, right? If a kid submitted paperwork and said, hey, they're not doing it on my behalf, that's the NCAA's job is to ensure compliance, throughout the organization, which, to no one's surprise they're failing to do.
There's an athletic director up there in Wisconsin right now that has probably like 50 emails, and I don't think they've responded to one because this is against NCAA. NCAA, this is the time a day where they don't have as much power as they did when I was growing up or when y'all was growing up. Like the NCAA was like the president, like it's whatever I say it goes. It's been a long time since then, or at least like 5 years since then. This is something they got power over, bro. This is some where the NCAA could flex their muscles and be on the good side of something for once. You know what I'm saying? So I would be very surprised if I don't think the NCAA has terrible publicity. This is the best time for them to flex their muscles and being like, hey, we're keeping college football in order. You're not. But, this is the time for them to try to do it. Because, if there was ever a gift to the NCAA, make an example out of one of the Super 2 conferences, they're illegally withholding his name from the transfer portal, right? Like we've all said, there's just nothing they could do about it. If it's a money thing, it's a money thing. Like that's on the side. It has nothing to do with the school. Until they make revenue sharing a thing, it's not a thing. So if I'm the NCAA, this is like your golden opportunity to be on the right side of something and have fans be like, oh, look, the NCAA made a move. They made a move and like for the better, for the good, like instead of everybody clowning them, it'll be one time where everybody's just like, damn, that's why we have the NCAA. They could look over because the Big Ten commissioner can't make them do that. That's not the Big Ten commissioner's job, nor can he actually force them to do it. He could probably be like, hey, this is terrible for our conference. You're giving us a bad rep, blah, blah, blah. You got that Big Ten sticker on your jersey, put the kid in the damn portal, but you can't go over there guns blazing and tell him to do it.
And honestly, the NCAA's got to have this in mind. Like, look at what happens if the NCAA doesn't step in. The worst thing that can happen for the NCAA is Xavier Lucas files a lawsuit against the NCAA, against Wisconsin. He files a lawsuit against them. You know what the courts are going to do? What is this? You can enter the transfer portal at certain times of the year, like bull. Like we're getting rid of that. That's going to be the first thing that they scrap. It's going to be you can enter the portal whenever you want. You can't restrict these kids from going to a different school when they want to transfer. That's going to be the first thing that they cut out. So the NCAA cannot afford this thing to go to litigation.
Kill college football.
It would kill it. It would be 3 games into the season. They're like, you know what? I'm going to go over there. They're winning. You're losing. Like that's going to be the next thing. And if anyone thinks it's not going to drop, look at everything else that people thought wasn't going to fall. You can't set a limit on when these kids can go. It used to be wide open. Then they tried to restrict it. No, you can't do that. You can't really do that. So if that goes to courts, are screwed.
why is it on the school to put kids in the portal? Like, did no one have the foresight to be like, hey, well, maybe if a school gets, pissed off, or, they can try and hold the kid back from entering. But that's why we have those rules. And someone posted on CanesInSight in the Lucas thread, the actual wording about, the portal, and it's the verbiage is actually pretty clear. I'm not a lawyer, but there's no exceptions. It's, you have 48 hours to enter the person. Like, you shall do that. Like, it's not, if you feel you've been wronged in a way, you don't get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
But like, could you imagine, like, if we were like, oh no, Isaiah Horton was tampered with, we're just going to hold him for 3 months or something. Like, what's their ending? Are they going to try and let Lucas play college football again?
Yeah, it makes no sense. There's no winning for them. I think honestly they're just so stuck in their way now. They're just afraid to move on it because they're going to look soft, because they got all their fans out there trying to brigade, like, oh no, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing.
This just blew up more than they could have ever imagined. They're trying to keep it under the wraps and try to hopefully just, get him to stay, and then, have him make a tweet, him and his Wisconsin uniform, talking about a Badger forever or whatever the hell they wanted to do. But hey, bro, wake up, reality. He wants to leave. He's in Madison. He balled. He's about to make a lot of money when he's in that portal, regardless if it's Miami or not. He's a freshman All-American. Those are the type of guys that get paid.
Yeah.
I mean, just being real. I mean, you get paid. So regardless of it's Miami or not, it's just wrong for him to be withheld from the portal or not. He is the big fish. I do think eventually his name does make it to the portal, because there's no law or anything saying otherwise. And when he does eventually hit that portal, I do like Miami's chances at him. Do I think we tampered with him? No, but we don't have to tamper with him, bro. His entire family's down here. His friends on the team. You act like he can't just talk to a teammate. He can't be a FaceTiming these kids. Or, where do you think he was you think he was in Wisconsin for the holidays? Like, nah, bro, he's back home. So, like, what do you think? Like, it's not tampering when you're just talking with your peers. And, it don't matter if you talk to a collective or not, because you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid. No school you're going to is not going to drop that bag, bro. It's going to be a bidding war, or it's going to be something where, hey, we set the market for you so high that you don't even have to go testing around. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. We'll see how it goes. He's going to get in that portal, whether Wisconsin's going to go down fighting or they're going to bow out semi-gracefully. Remains to be seen. He's just in that portal.
I think it's just a matter of when the lawsuits get filed, because I don't believe they've actually filed anything yet. No. I believe the lawyers just reached out to NCAA in Wisconsin, and I think he's going to essentially give them a chance to do it, so that way they don't have to go through courts and whatnot. But I mean, I don't know. Can he even enter the portal at this point? Because Wisconsin season's been over.
Well,
he put his work to there's no way the NCAA can say no.
The paperwork in. Yeah.
There's no way the NCAA can refuse it at this
There's
point.
no way. So I think his lawyer's doing the smart thing. You bring this to the NCAA. This is their job. This is literally their job.
Yeah.
They have lawyers. They have this. They're the ones who wrote the guideline. They're the ones who said, hey, no matter what, you got to put a kid in the portal.
Right.
Yeah, you could do your whole little sneaky, buy yourself 24, 48 hours, by putting it in last second. Okay, we do that too. Everybody do that. Hey, you trying to keep a kid? Hey, it is what it is. Anything we try to keep Horton, you got to put his name in. That's the rules.
Right.
So, you want to, buy yourself 24 hours, try to negotiate with a kid before you officially hits that portal. Cool. But bro, you got metaphorically, you got to freaking, you holding them hostage.
Not
what it is. Yeah.
They're denying him an opportunity to make money. And I know that the courts will not look upon that very favorably, because let's say he's getting 200 from, Wisconsin, but his market value is $1 million. He could probably sue for that difference. And, that lawsuit would probably, get Wisconsin moving, because Wisconsin's the one holding it up. It's not whatever their collective is, Cheese Man Collective or whatever.
Yeah. And a great point by Lazarus Walker here, that the hilarity of them getting Diani Hill going to Wisconsin, and then they're still like, no, but you can't leave. You go to Miami and Xavier Lucas.
It's a TVD Diani Hill for Xavier Lucas deal.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take
Shout
that
out to
all
my
day.
boy going to SMU. That's gonna be a great look for him. He'll probably have a good year.
Yeah, honestly, oh, no disrespect to Jennings, but like I think we saw what Jennings was when he played against a real school, when he played against Penn State. I think we kind of got a vibe of what that was. And most of the Clemson game, he was bad. So I think there's an opportunity for TVD to get that job if he, especially with his history with Lashley. No disrespect to
Yeah,
the young kid, but if
man.
TVD,
If TVD's healthy, that's gonna be a quarterback battle. It just
yeah,
is what it is. I presume he would be because they wouldn't take him if he wouldn't be. But let's be real. I thought Jennings had some good games throughout the ACC, but just number two, the bed. Uh,
bad.
bad versus Penn State. I mean, when he threw that second interception, that first one, I was like, all right, that's terrible. That second one, I was like, bro, yo. Like, I would have pressed pause and put my second string quarterback in if I was playing NCAA.
Yeah,
If the ball just came out looking like that. I mean,
that that was like an interception where like you're playing the game and you throw it and you just hit the button and you're like, damn. As soon as like you hit this like circle button, you're just like,
I
oh
pressed the wrong
man.
button. Oh, I pressed that. And you got some like 5-year-old cursing at you on the other end. Like, yeah, I do this. I do this. Like, yo, you ain't him. Straps. Yeah, nah. That was terrible. Oh, yeah, you Canes fan. Yeah, I think there's a position change coming for him.
Yeah. Oh, up to like
Yeah, I think he's going to play nickel at Georgia. He had good snaps at the nickel for us early. That's why actually Canes fans were hype about him because that's where he was playing in 2021 while Cam and James were over the top. I think that's a better look for him because coming down, being one-on-one in the alley, making tackles at safety just wasn't his thing.
yeah.
So,
All right, we'll hit a couple of
wishing
other
him
things.
well. He was never a bad kid. He was always a good kid. He was with
Hopefully it works
Raw
out.
Cooper tournaments, so I got to know him a little bit. But yeah, great dude. Hopefully it works out for him at UGA.
A couple other things that are up there. You Canes fan, Steve. If this confused you before, we told him last week. Just rag on how bad our cameras and microphones and everything are, so that way we could ask D Money and say, "Hey, we got to get some better stuff here." So if you see a lot of negative commentary about your microphone and everything, it's part of the process. It's part of the we're playing a long game here.
Gotta trust it. Gotta trust the process.
Be 4K here before long, and then King Kane sending Cali 11 prayers up for families. Hey man, hopefully anyone out there. I know we have some people that are way out there in the West Coast that watch the show that follow CanesInSight, big Canes fans. It's terrifying out there as with all these fires are as they spread it. It's a scary thing. Like 100-mile-an-hour winds in some areas, like to go along with the fire. Like I saw something where in a minute a fire can spread 300 yards, like the length of 3 football fields in a minute. So you think you're good, it's the next town over, and all of a sudden they even evacuated the area around the Rose Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, everywhere is evacuated. I mean, there's people digging trenches outside their houses. There's no water. I mean, you bust a fire hydrant and there's nothing coming out. That's crazy. I'm just praying for them people. I'm not a political guy. I'm not going to get into all that. But whatever that is, that's just wrong, bro. That's just wrong.
It's hard to fathom, right? Because I've never especially on the East Coast, right? We don't see wildfires like that ever. So it's hard to visualize. I see things on Twitter and it's like the apocalypse. I'm just like, oh, but hopefully everyone's got out of there and their homes are okay.
Yeah, the sky cam is really where you see it all. It's just oh my god, bro, this is literally like a hurricane of fire.
It's crazy. It's one of those things that's hard to even put up into words how devastating that stuff can be, man. These disasters, and it only gets worse. But hopefully everybody out there is all right. Obviously, like a lot of people, they're just losing everything, but not their lives. It's always rebuilt. But anyway, so that was part of it. And then the other side of the portal additions, obviously have the whole defensive backfield. We were able to bring in 2 pieces on the offensive side of the ball too. One, James Brockermeyer from TCU. I remember when his recruitment, I think he was originally at Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Bama.
Bama? Okay. But I remember him and his brother were coming out either the same year or back-to-back years. I know his brother was a big tackle prospect. They were big Texas boosters, and I know all kinds of stuff happened. But a guy who's been a higher-level center option, now coming into Miami to solidify that position again. another year of an incoming transfer center, and it's worked out 2 times in a row. And obviously looking to get one more before maybe pass it off to one of the guys we're developing. And then what's that? SJ, of course. And then Alex Bowman, too, coming in at tight end. You lose some guys. You lose Arroyo to the draft. You lose some other guys to the portal. Now you get a guy who, in all accounts, from every Tulane person that you see talk about him, it's we wasted him on the roster. He didn't have the opportunity to step into the role where he should have. And now you get to pair him with an Elijah Law.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of my younger bros that I be training, Cam Robertson and Antoine, they're committed to Tulane. Cam plays tight end. And just to be real, it was a conversation where it was a conversation where saying, yeah, we could be used better, was told to a recruit. So he definitely felt that way himself. So it's not just the fans. I like him as a blocker. I think that's going to definitely check the box. You cannot play tight end for Coach Mario if you don't block. Look at Arroyo. Everybody talks about his, speed downfield, his playmaking ability. He was pound for pound one of our best blockers, and he was a tight end. So you got to check that box for sure. But I really, 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 really like the savviness of him, bro. Tight end sometimes, bro, you got to sit in that zone, bro. You got to just show your numbers to the quarterback. You are the biggest guy running. It's the hardest to miss you. And you're usually the closest to the quarterback, bro. You're either in line or you're in the slot. I mean, unless you're a Royal, you can play outside. But, I mean, bro, there's like 1 or 2 of those in college football. That is a very, very important position. He was underutilized, but he made a lot of plays with the balls he got. He breaks tackles, makes the first guy miss. Things that you look at skilled athletes and you judge them for. Does he make, catches away from his body? Does he make the first guy miss? Is he a tough tackle? Does he lean forward? Does he fall forward? Things like that. He checks a lot of boxes. That tells me he's just a good football player. So if you're a good football player, we need those.
Yeah, I think he's going to, potentially be like the most underappreciated, under the radar guy that makes the biggest impact, and most importantly with him, from Red Bank Catholic in New Jersey, so about 25 minutes from where I'm at. So I don't know why or how he ended up at Tulane with the powerhouse Rutgers in state, but I'm glad he did because he's with us now. But just kind of a all around good football player, block, catch. I think we're going to see a lot more athleticism out of him than what he showed at Tulane, from what they ran on offense. And then, Brockermeyer just coming in, anchor that center spot, which should be, probably one of the best, if not the best offensive lines in the country.
The name was so familiar, and just looking at Tulane, I never looked into what high school he played at. I knew the name was familiar, and I was like, I must have just came across him in draft scouting stuff or something. But yeah, that does sound very familiar. I think he might have played against some local schools here too. But getting these 2 guys, it brings obviously a positivity to the offense and getting that, but it still leaves us with the biggest question mark, which I know a lot of guys are out there asking. But before we get to that, CF Kane had this question. Steve-O, were the Canes ever really in it for the brothers from USC? How do you feel about that?
I mean, if you get a visit, you're in it. I mean, they're not just visiting just to visit. I know at this point in their career. Thank you, fam. I just don't really think they're that good, bro. I'm sorry, dog. Everybody throws that word elite around too damn much, bro. You got less receiving yards than our 3rd, 4th receiver last year, bro. And you had one. I had somebody in the comments talking about that's Hester 2.0. Bro, he has 1 kickoff return, 1 return touchdown. What are you saying? I really wanted to say I'll slap you. What? Hester 2.0. Dude got 1 return touchdown in his entire career. Is he an exciting athlete? Hell yeah, bro. I'm not going to hate on the man, but I just don't think he's there. I think he needed KB more than us needed him. To be real with you, you average 10 yards a catch, and the only time you get separation is when they scheme you open, on a quick dump, trying to get you in space, which you're electric in space. I get it. I'm not a hater. I see it. But as a receiver, a true receiver, bro, I think you're just more of an athlete just playing the position. And your brother, come on, bro. He was not going to Georgia without you, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You could say Canes fans can say whatever you want about Jaden Harris. You taking Jaden Harris 100 times over his brother. I'm telling you right now. Like I'm telling you right now, you're doing it. So that just tells you what I feel about that. So were we in it? Maybe. Am I happy they went elsewhere? Yeah. I mean, why the hell would we pay them money and we let Horton go to Alabama? What? What? Come on. I mean, I know we didn't let Horton go to Alabama, but I'm just saying. Nah.
Could have thrown a little bit more in there if we knew that was the alternative for sure. I got you. Bill, thoughts on those two?
I mean, you shot your shot. From kind of what D Money was saying on one of his podcasts, the money just was too much for what you were getting. Would have been nice to kind of get that package deal. Sure, kind of two positions in need, but there's still a whole nother kind of portal right in the spring, and there's still some guys floating out there too that you could potentially fill those holes with. But money's not unlimited, right? So you got to make your decisions, and if you're not going to get the value, then that's okay too. But I think we have much bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, you see D-Train in the streets, you dap him up. Be like, hell yeah, bro. We ain't spending that money, our hard-earned money in King's Connection on that BS. You see D-Train in the street, you dap that boy up.
Sounds aggressive there, especially if we could find a way to pull a quarterback in this group. Then you really want to go make sure you say hello to D-Train and say, hey, good job out there, because that's the last lingering question. Obviously, there's some other big fish out there, different positions, but the quarterback spot is the one that all the people have the questions about. Especially you see a lot of your old quarterbacks making good moves. TVD going to SMU, Cam Ward very possibly going to the Titans, the number 1 overall pick. So now what's next for Miami at the quarterback position there? And Steve, I didn't get a chance to expel some of your thoughts last week, so I'll go to you first on this. Like, in your gut right now, and I don't know if anybody has a great idea exactly what we're going to do, but like, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you think day one we're looking at the quarterback position for Miami next year?
I'm looking at, bro, give me the best receivers, tight ends, and running backs and offensive line, and let Luke Nickel take his bumps. I think there's going to be 2 big-name quarterbacks in the portal relatively soon, or as these playoff games start to end, you'll probably see a name or two. But chill. I need someone to throw me the ball. I ain't going to quarterback. I'm gonna cap the offense. I'd cap the ceiling of the offense, bro. I can't throw past 45 yards in the air. So not me. I can play at Miami, Ohio, but but at the Canes. But no, it's got to be at this point. It's got to be Luke Nickel versus Emory Williams versus Judd Anderson, who I know people are asleep on Judd. I think he's maybe like a year away. I think redshirt sophomore Judd will surprise the heck out of all y'all. And it's not just me saying it, bro. Physically, he is super impressive, bro. When you see him, you're like, oh my God. Like, yo, where did they build this guy from? Like, dog, I talked to his dad, bro. His dad is stupid tall and well built. And I'm like, yo, that's your dad? You gonna look like that too? Like, bro, look like Josh Allen. I'm like, yo, I'm talking to his dad in Gainesville, his family, super nice family. I could tell why he's such a good kid. I'm like, yo, that's how he's about to look.
Yeah.
Dude, look brolic, bro. Like, yeah, like nicest dude ever. But if you just stayed there and was quiet, you would think he's somebody's muscle. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Judd, year away, in my opinion, from really competing for the job. But I really think you just got to get somebody with some starting experience, even if they dip and go get me another pop. I'll hype them up to the death of me. But it got to be – there's freshmen playing everywhere in college football at quarterback, this position, at that position. Why can't it be Luke Nickel, a back-to-back Max Prep All-American state champion, who is probably one of the best quarterbacks I've seen live in high school? Not saying much. I play in from South Florida. We're not really known for quarterbacks. We've had some good ones, but like before that, but the best quarterback I think I've seen in high school was like Jacory, or like when I was growing up, Brandon McGee was playing high school for my team at Plant. So like it was just literally, and down here you just put your best athlete at quarterback,
Right.
So not saying too much, but man, Nickel looked good, bro. If there was ever an evaluation we hit on, it had to be him, man. That was the best. You got him to commit and lock in before everybody and their mama was like, yo, who is this kid? Who is this kid? Who is this kid? I mean, Auburn throwing him stupid money, telling him he could start as a freshman. Everybody watched Auburn. They know he could start as a freshman.
Walked right in.
Georgia was talking about, oh, nah, we're good. Hold on. Hey, bro, what's going on? You really like them with Miami, man? Come on, man. Come play with me, man. I'm smart, right? Nah, you're not. So everybody and their mama was after Luke Nickel. And yeah, he stayed true throughout the whole entire process. So I would love a situation where he gets an opportunity to compete for that job. But if a name enters the portal and comes to Miami, I get it.
Bill.
Yeah, I'd be very hesitant about starting a true freshman, just because you don't know what you're getting, right? And it's not like we have a lot of credibility, in terms of, winning seasons, built up, right? We just finally had a good season. I'd love to, even if you go get, a game manager type just to kind of game manage us to, 9-10 wins. The season can fall apart pretty quick if the freshman doesn't work out and you don't have any other options. And, one of my fears is that we would waste this offensive line if we don't have the right, guy, behind it. Because, we're going to be losing 4 out of the 5, following next year, and we're going to be rebuilding that offensive line. It's going to be somewhat of a question mark going in, even though we, really, like the development of what, Mirabal and Cristobal does. Obviously, it's not like it's going to be terrible, but, we retooled the defense. We have a great offensive line. We're going to have a strong running game. Could a true freshman, come in and kind of just hold serve, I guess, potentially, right? But, a guy like, obviously if like Ewers enters, or if, Beck decides to, enter the portal and not go pro, it sounds like his time at Georgia's pretty much done. A guy like that's played ball, that, can make the throws, can make the easy reads.
He's dating a Cavender too.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely doesn't hurt. I think, the selling point of Beck, and a week left before, guys actually officially declare, he's not going to be a first round pick. He's not going to be a second round pick. You can make a ton of money here. Come, just exactly like Cam Ward did. You can tell that is proof of concept. Is he a perfect quarterback? No. Did he have issues this year? Yes. But he's probably the best realistic option at this point. And that's what you need to do. You need to go get the best option available.
I mean,
you got to have somebody who started games, because Judd has not yet started a game. Emory has very limited starting experience. He's only started, 1 game or 2 games. There's Luke obviously is just coming off of out of high school. So yeah, you need to go get someone who started games. And if the guy started big time games like college football playoff games, SEC championship games, then yeah, he would have to go to the top of your list. You're thinking maybe, does Quinn Ewers just say, F it, I made so much money in college that I'll just try my hand at the NFL. I'll stick around a few years just off name. Or does he want to improve his stock and, go elsewhere? Because Manny's getting like $3 million. I'm telling you right now. Art's getting like $3.5 million to sit the bench, and they're calling for his name by the week. Ain't no way he's going back to Texas. Pretty much not the same situation in Georgia, because I do think if Carson Beck went back to Georgia, he'd probably start. But, these are the 2 names to monitor if they go to the NFL or not. I think they could look at Cam Ward, and we could use this recruitment and be like, hey, what'd you get for the NFL Draft Advisory Board? All right, whatever they tell you, think 2 rounds lower, because that's really the truth. And then Cam Ward got this draft grade last year. Go turn on your TV on April 26th at 8 p.m. on the dot. You're going to see the commissioner holding the card with his name on it. like, come on, bro. Like, that's going to help recruit as well. But there's other options out there. Some guys have had injury issues that maybe you're thinking, hey, maybe we can keep him healthy. Maybe we have, the right medical staff. Maybe he's put that stuff behind them. Maybe stuff like that. it's really just like that. Hey, we're gonna get somebody that has starting experience, and then if the young guy beat him out, he beat him out. But I'm advocating for Luke Nickel to go, but I understand how quickly a season's expectations could just drop from the sky when you have a freshman quarterback. Because once you make that decision, you kind of have to ride with him and take those lumps. I mean, if you do a N'Kosi Perry, you'll just stunt the growth of that kid's entire career. So I understand the both sides of that coin.
Yeah, which I think is, that kind of go back to what Bill was saying, like do we have the leeway built up to ride that out? And if it isn't going the way we want it to go,
I don't think
it's a very definitive thing to do. And the Beck situation, I think the conversation that you guys are both saying is, if he's found himself into a really weird spot with Georgia, because he was supposed to be something this year. He was going to be like, potential number 1 overall pick. And think of the irony of that. Like, we got a guy in Beck who, when he was being recruited, there was a lot of juice about, maybe Miami will get him. We don't get him. He goes to Georgia. He ends up being this guy that gets to play in the biggest stage, playoff games, and all this kind of stuff. We get a guy in Cam Ward who is the under-recruited, never recruited, and finally ends up here. Now, in the year that yours and Beck and all these guys were supposed to go number 1, Cam Ward is probably going to go number 1. And Beck is the guy that's looking for an opportunity. Gut says, I'd rather, personally, if it were me, I'd rather go back to school and go be a first-round pick than go try to scrounge around some money, because these days those quarterbacks don't get a long leash. You get a longer one if you're a first-round pick.
It's very difficult to become a starting NFL quarterback as a later round pick. I was kind of just going through names in my head today, right? I think Will Levis, right? I think he was a 2nd round pick. He's about to get replaced.
He's the reason why they have a 1st overall pick.
Yeah. So there's it's a very low percentage chance you're taking, and you always want to bet on yourself. You're confident. But
I think it's 17 of the starters, the designated starters, were top 5 picks or something like that. Like, that's just is where it is.
Or top 10 for sure. Like, if you go top 10, that number probably skyrockets.
Yeah, top 10, I think, goes up to like the 20s.
To me, it just makes sense for that to kind of come together. I know he's dealing with a little bit of an injury thing, but again, he's experienced. I think he's going to be throwing in spring. I don't know if he'll be like kind of a full go, but you're not really worried about him kind of catching up because he's played so much.
He do look like Sid from Ice Age, though. Those memes are hella funny. Sorry, Beck, if you're our quarterback, I'm gonna defend you when it comes down to it. But the memes are hilarious,
though. Very wide set eyes. Very.
He feel better. That's all.
He's got to focus on ball, not getting those modeling jobs. So focus on football, kid. You got to have that game up. If you want to keep the Cavenders around, to do what you got to do. But so we'll see. That's obviously like what it's next week. Is it next
Wednesday?
Yeah, because our last game was last Wednesday. Yeah, so next Wednesday we might have some interesting information to see how that goes. But then again, I think he still has. I forget what the rules about the NFL draft declarations are. I guess he's officially declared. I don't know when he'd have to pull his name out.
The cutoff is the 15th, so by next Wednesday.
To pull the name out too. Look at that. That worked out well. So yeah, we'll hopefully have some interesting news for you on that show. It'll either be disappointment or intrigue, if that could be a thing. And hey, who knows? Maybe back-to-back years with first overall picks if it all works out. Some wild stuff. Be like when Bernie Kosar and Vinny Testaverde were going 100 years ago, before any of us were born. Even though Steve-O thinks we're both like 65 years old. Steve-O before. I don't think I missed that before, Steve-O. You're like, when I was growing up or when you guys were growing up, I was like, it sound like the whole previous generation. Back when you used to do this to start your car.
Generation. What you guys are what, in your late 30s?
Yeah, but it still hurts, Steve-O.
Bro, that's a decade. That's a different generation. I'm just saying. I was talking about NCAA. NCAAs were gods back then. It was
back with us, there was only like 10 teams. They didn't even build the schools yet. So we were that Miami 1920. We were that Miami 1925 year because we remembered when they built it. They were like, "Oh yeah, this will be a good school." We were suggesting names to them. Yeah, be called the Hurricanes, but I want a bird as the mascot because you can't make a costume of that. Anyway.
Well, I mean,
It's
that's how
Fed.
that's how they used to tell when the hurricanes were coming, when those birds would leave.
I know, Steve-O. I know. It was a joke.
I'm just saying, just in case people in the chat don't know.
Tulane Green Wave. You know what their mascot is? What the physical animal mascot is? Bill, you know?
Sorry, I was looking up the because Roger Allen said it was February 6th for the pullout. It's actually February 7th, so we got a little bit of time. But January 15th is the something for eligibility or something, but that's irrelevant to I guess our
That makes
discussion.
sense because Cam came in February too, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so we got a potential couple of weeks, but you would think within the next week or two, if it was going to happen, it would happen.
Back comment in there. But Bill, back to the important thing before we get out of here. Tulane's physical animal mascot. What kind of animal is it?
I don't know. I just thought it was like a little stupid wave that they just turned into a cartoon.
Pelican.
A little wave is a pelican.
Well, they're in New Orleans, so that makes sense. The pelicans, the state bird.
Oh, yeah, it's all coming together. Eldridge Primus for. You can't spin, you cold-blooded. Xavier's word experience that word the passion for the portal was next man up. Yeah, but that's the thing.
Before the portal, people still transferred. Man, you know, Brock Berlin transferred to us from Florida. It just wasn't called the portal where you could see them in a database. I mean, transferring isn't just brand new. I mean, we've had guys transfer from our schools to others. You know, Antonio Crawford, we played him and beat his ass in West Virginia in our last bowl win. Transferring has been a thing, bro. It's been a thing, fam. And I'm with you. If you're feeling this way because you want to start Luke Nickel, Mr. Primus, I'm with you. I like Luke Nickel. I haven't seen him do what he do, but experience is definitely at an all-time high in college football when there's like 27-year-olds playing. Yeah, they got experience, bro. not in the workforce, but they got college football experience.
This is the way it is now, but experience is going to be you try to get as best you can, but some cases you're not. Notre Dame, like K Mills said, they're going to not go portal. We'll see if Miami has to do the same. That'll be a conversation for next week and the rest of this winter into spring into summer.
No coach is going to just flat out say, "Hey, we're going in the portal," just so the guy they have on the roster is going to transfer. Like, why would they say that? You can't trust them. What they say. You think we ain't tell Emory what's going in the portal? Or, hey, we're weighing our options? Man, tell acquisition, bro. Marcus Freeman is a minority coach coaching at Notre Dame, bro. He got to win. It's unfortunate. I hate Notre Dame, but I'm so happy for him individually. Because he's winning even without Golden on his staff. That's crazy. He'd have revitalized his career in college because he was doing good in the pros. Obviously, that's why he got the job, but nice for him. But yeah, nobody's gonna just say, "Yeah, after this championship run, we're going to the portal because my backup quarterback is Cheeks." Of course, you're not gonna say that. But guess what? They just went 2 years straight with portal quarterbacks with Sam Hartman and Riley Leonard. If that guy not looking good, they're going to portal again because now the expectation is not just they made the playoffs, but Notre Dame hasn't won a playoff since like the Manti Te'o game thing where they went against Bama was that even in the playoffs?
That was
I guess that was just a regular BCS.
Yeah, that was just the championship, right?
That was what?
Yeah, so they just won their first ever playoff game, and if they looking at Buddy in practice, and they're like, yeah, they gonna do what they gotta do.
Very fair. Very fair. All right. But with that, we'll say goodnight to you guys. We appreciate you guys for coming in. Obviously, a good chance to talk to you guys Miami football. Got some talent acquisition conversations done. And hopefully we have a little bit more as we keep going on next week into the future. But we'll see how this roster continues to develop in that time through the spring and like we said before, into the summer. A lot of time before Miami football, but still a lot of conversations to be had about how this team is going to look before we get to next year. But before we get out of here, Bill, final thoughts for the people.
Actually, tomorrow, Friday, we got the playoff games, and from a Miami perspective, short of Florida and Florida State being in it, this was probably like the worst case. Penn State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State all in the Final Four. But those games should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, I'll be up in New York in the apartment watching. She was like, "Where you want to go watch the game at?" I was like, "Hey, we cooking. We going to the store. We cooking. I'm watching. It's Penn State, Notre Dame. I ain't leaving in the Arctic weather to go watch them. I'm gonna definitely leave to go watch that Texas Ohio State game. I'm gonna be going for Texas. As y'all know, my little brother's favorite team is Texas. I'll be definitely rooting for them to beat the Buckeyes. But yeah, I really don't care for Notre Dame, Penn State. Wish they could both lose. But I mean, I'm just gonna enjoy the games.
You had to pick a team to root for in that pairing. Who'd you pick?
I can't pick Notre Dame. They sized my boy. I can't say his name because then the school he signed with might be mad because he's about to flip. But then they sized him about a class. But they're a Catholic. They're like super hard to get into, bro. It's crazy. Like they went back to a 9th grade class. That's why he couldn't get in. That's what he had. We actually just talked about him earlier, so you can put the dots together if you want. But yeah, that was crazy. They went back to like a 9th grade like credit from when he was up in Georgia. I was like, yo, y'all serious right now? You got to retake this? What are y'all talking about? Like, yo, he was like 13 years old, bro. But regardless, I'm gonna just go for Penn State because I have nothing really against them. I think they play a boring brand of football, but that's a winning brand of football, to be honest with you. I think Drew Aller is borderline cheeks at times, but this offense is definitely better for him. So I guess I'd say Penn State just because I can't really root for Notre Dame. They not like a Florida State, Florida fan where you just hate them, but I mean, I just don't like Notre Dame. Obviously, last time we played them, we put belt to buns, but yeah, I'll probably have to go Penn State on that, and then easy to say Texas over Ohio State at all times. But, Jeremiah is going to go for like 300 yards, though.
I'm in like a college football pick 'em kind of thing. So if Penn State wins, I actually win the whole thing. So it makes it easier to pick between. Yeah. So, yeah, all good.
Translation, we are getting Ewers. I don't think it goes that way. I don't think he likes Ewers much either. He's so he wouldn't be putting in a good word for UM.
That makes sense. That'll happen. But anyway, we'll see how this all shakes out. Talk about the title game next week and all kinds of other stuff. The playoff football to talk about too. See how this weekend shakes out for that. None of our favorite teams are in it. Or even, I guess the Dolphins got kind of close, but still getting slapped up by the Jets. Smacked by the Jets.
Y'all was shiesty for putting up y'all was playing the Kansas City game and the Kansas City Broncos game in the stadium. I thought that was cool. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, yeah, do that. Like, that's a good idea. I hope we do that to somebody, but yeah, that's crazy.
I can see it. That's all we had. That's all we had this whole season was a chance to mess with you guys a little bit.
Aaron Rodgers turned 25 just for like 3 quarters.
They went back to being a
I think there's like a lot of smoke on like the training back half thing that a lot of people think that they're gonna bring back Rodgers for 1 year and draft the quarterback, which because he said he'll mentor him like he did Jordan Love, and everybody's looking at Jordan Love like, hey, he did pretty good. He's doing pretty good. I have him under 1.5 touchdowns this weekend, and I need him to stay under that. But just a nugget for you, Jets. I think people are maybe thinking they hang on to Rodgers 1 more year.
Who knows, man? We have no plan, so it's hard to predict. Hard to predict the total chaos at an entity like the New York Jets. So see how it goes. But that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in to watch the show. We appreciate you as always. Thanks for getting so involved in the chat. We love to interact with you guys that way. Obviously, if you want to make fun of our microphones and cameras, all you want, you go ahead and do that. No negativity will come back your way. We like it. We enjoy it. And of course, we'll see you again next week. So for Bill and Steve-O, my name is Chris. Thank you guys for watching 3 Live Canes here on Canes Insight. Don't forget to go support Canes Connection. It's been working out so far. And if you want to have our legal battle against the University of Wisconsin go well, hey, here's a great opportunity.
NCAA footing that bill. But if you want to get him when he actually hits the portal, go ahead and hit it.
There you go. And all these quarterbacks. Hey, you want to get a future number 1 overall pick at quarterback? Get him over to Shannon Dawson. We'll have it back-to-back if you donate. if you donate, Bill. Anyway, so Bill and Steve-O, I'm Chris. We'll see you guys again next week right here on 3 Live Canes.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Urban's got it. Urban's free. Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, and he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big games.
Hurt, dog. Don't ask me for more.